Hello folks, I hope you're all doing well. It's early to mid-September at the moment, and it's a kind of transition period between summer and autumn. So the mornings tend to be quite chilly at the moment, and then if the sun comes out it gets quite nice, like 20 degrees or so. So this morning I've come out with arm warmers on, knee warmers, and like a wind vest thing, which some of which or all of which will be coming off a little bit later on as it warms up. Last month or so has been a bit of a disaster for me exercise wise. Hello, morning. Yeah, I've struggled to do anything for the last month or so really, and mostly because of my own stupidity. So today I thought I'd come out and take a nice slow ride through some of the lanes and take you along and tell you what happened.
The world feels lighter when I ride, wheels spinning like the hands of time. The breeze whispers secrets to my skin, a quiet race I always win. Every pedal a heart beats call. No walls, no ceilings, no rules at all. Two wheels of my freedom, my
coffee time. So this is Horn Golf Club. It's a fairly regular stop of mine, particularly in the winter, and they're very friendly towards cyclists, and the prices here are really good. I've just got a bacon and cheese wrap and a mocha, and it's only just over £5, which is about half what it would have cost me, say, in one of the big chains. I said I'd tell you how stupid I've been over the last month. So about a month ago I caught a cold, and goodness knows how, because now I don't work in my little outdoor shop anymore. I'm not really coming into that contact with that many people, but nonetheless there it was, and I haven't really been able to get rid of it. I've been staying off the bike and reducing my exercising, and nothing really seemed to make any difference. So I was just beginning to wonder whether in fact I'd caught a mild dose of COVID. But I had a look at my Strava data, which I don't generally do. I usually just use Strava as a kind of mileage login thing. So what immediately became apparent was that I'd been training in a heart rate zone that was basically way too high. For those of you that don't know, the exercise intensity is broken down into a series of zones, starting at 1, which is basically a recovery zone, and going up to 5, which is a flat out sprint essentially. And this is all based on your maximum heart rate. And the idea is that you work out what your maximum heart rate is, and Strava or your Garmin or whatever will produce the zones for you, 1 to 5, telling you what heart rate zone you should be in. Now I work out what my maximum heart rate is by, there's 2 biggish climbs within about 3/4 of an hour of my house. One of them is Box Hill, which is a very famous climb. It's in fact, I think, the UK's most hotly contested Strava segment. It's actually not that steep, but it drags on quite a way, and it's got a couple of hairpins in it. And the other one is Ditchling Beacon, which is well known to people who do the London to Brighton bike ride. And this has a series of, I think it's an average of 10%, but it's got some 17% kind of ramps in it, and a few kind of slightly flatter sections, and that's the harder climb of the 2. And it turns out, from basically going flat out up these 2 climbs earlier on in the year, that my maximum heart rate is 182. So the perceived wisdom amongst cycling coaches is that for somebody of my sort of age, 50s and 60s, you really ought to be spending 2 rides a week in zone 2 and 1 ride a week where you go a little bit harder. And the reason for this is that as you get older, you simply can't recover from intense exercise efficiently. So it takes you a lot longer to recover from a particular ride. Now zone 2 is counted as an endurance level, which if you do lots of riding in zone 2, you gradually build up your base, if you like, so you can cycle for a long time in zone 2, provided you keep yourself fueled up. Zone 3 is called tempo, which is much faster than zone 2, but is still maintainable for 2-3 hours maybe. So this is sort of riding in a bunch, I guess, at a high pace. Zone 4 is called threshold, and that's the maximum that you can sustain for probably about half an hour. And this is the sort of zone that I used to ride in when I was racing, perhaps doing 10-mile individual time trials that might last 20, in my case, 24 minutes or so. And zone 5 is sprinting massively up a hill. So when I looked at a lot of my rides, what I found was that I was actually spending most of my time in zone 3 and some in zone 4, and only a little bit in zone 2. So yeah, particularly in July and early August before I got sick. So this is a kind of non-sustainable exercise level, even for a younger person, but particularly for somebody of my age. So what Strava also does is it allocates a score for every activity, and it's based on your heart rate whilst doing that activity and the duration, and it adds this up over the week and gives you a week's total score. It then recommends for the following week a band within which you're supposed to stick for gradually and safely improving your fitness, and at worst case maintaining it. And what I found when I looked at say the previous 12 weeks from now is that I was consistently overreaching and being way outside this band, and then the following week I was trying to compensate by underreaching, if you like. So it was a series of boom and bust type efforts that I was making week on week, and this isn't what you're supposed to do at all. You're supposed to constantly be looking at your score for the week and judging the rest of your week, what you can do based on staying within the grey zone in the chart that I put up. Now, a contributory factor to this overreaching I was doing in the summer was the choice of bike that I was going out on. I have a bike that I had built when I was 50, and the idea of this was to replicate the sort of bike that I used to race on when I was in my 20s. So although it's a modern-ish bike, 12 years old, it's not using any of the current kind of, aero technology and disc brakes and that sort of thing. But the geometry of this bike is race-oriented geometry, and might sound strange for people who don't particularly cycle, but the geometry of a bike determines how a bike handles and encourages you to either go fast or cruise a little bit. And the geometry of this particular bike encourages aggressive fast riding, and it's highly pleasurable, and when you come back from a ride you feel really good, but it's very difficult to sit and cruise on it. You just automatically want to go faster. And in the summer, this is a bike that I ride a fair amount. Never gets used in the winter because it's not really geared for winter roads. So my own lack of self-control, if you like, and coupled with the using a bike that encourages a lack of self-control, meant that I spent most of the summer overreaching myself. And I think I got to the point around mid-October where although I felt okay in myself and I was riding quite fast on my bike, I was open to catching stuff and not getting over it so quick. And what Strava also does is it allocates you a fitness score based on the sort of stuff that you're doing. Now, in the middle of winter, my score typically is around the 20 mark, simply because I'm not doing very much. Last year it dropped lower, I think it was about 13 or something, so I was virtually untrained. I then effectively retired in the middle of January, and my fitness ramped up quite rapidly, up to around 55, I think, and it cruises along at that level for a bit. But what you can see from the graph here is, apart from the inevitable ups and downs, that there has actually been a fair old decline, particularly since about July, and it absolutely plummeted in August, all the way back down to about 30 or 31, I think. So I think all of this is the reason why I've been feeling so rubbish for the last month. I've started to try and nip out on the bike again, but being very careful to stick to zone 2 type of efforts. Now, this feels a lot slower than you'll kind of naturally want to ride. In my case, zone 2 seems to be about 11.5 miles an hour. So you have to keep pegging yourself back all the time. Today's ride's been quite nice because I keep stopping doing filming and things, plus filming while I'm riding, and I think I'm averaging about 10 or 11 miles an hour at the moment, so I can be fairly confident that that's in zone 2, and the ride will only be about 25 miles in total by the time I get home. So I'm rather hoping that I've identified what the problem is and can like get back to riding again. So yeah, I'm going to finish off my coffee now and probably poodle off. Look forward to seeing you next time. It'll be an Astro one next time. So take care and stay well.